Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know these sessions go quickly, so I want to get started on time. Do appreciate you all being here, and it's a great opportunity to gather together, learn more about what we're doing across the various states in Extension. My name is Steve Green, and I'm an associate professor and Extension Child Development Specialist with the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at Texas A&M. And this afternoon, I want to talk to you about Extension Online, which is an online training platform that several of us in the Family Development and Resource Management Unit within Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, we developed this online platform. And so, even though we don't have much time, I want to go over some of the background behind the system, look at a little bit of the history of Extension Online, some of the features of the system. I want to look at a few of the outcomes from Extension Online, and then just explore a few of the strategies that we've relied upon or utilized to help the system grow. This goes without saying, but we know that we live in a technology age where most people are connected to the internet. In fact, I just looked up the latest Pew Research study. It said that 87% of American adults regularly access the internet. And we know that 99% of households in the income bracket of 75,000 or more access it regularly. But one of the questions that we get quite often in the state of Texas is, well, what about lower income families? Do they have access to the internet if you're going to be focusing in this area? And that study showed that 77% of those earning less than $30,000 a year access the internet regularly. And of course, we know that the proliferation of mobile devices, and that's how people are accessing the internet as well, tablets and cell phones. And so 90% on a cell phone and almost 60% on a smartphone. So that has implications for what we've been talking about today. But we developed this vision for Extension Online in the early 2000s. We wanted to develop a system that would be able to allow users to access the content on demand 24/7 with very little instructor involvement. We also sought to fulfill state mandated professional development requirements. And as I said, I'm a child development specialist, so I work a lot with early childhood educators and child care providers across the state of Texas. And the state sets the requirements for professional development training, and it keeps going up every several years. And so that was another reason why we wanted to explore this issue. We have 254 counties in the state of Texas, and our agents are scattered all throughout the state, of course, but their programming is it's diversified, it's varied, and so they only have a certain amount of time to devote to certain topic areas. So we saw a tremendous need. And then we looked at various platforms that were already existing, and what we found was they were expensive or they lacked key features that we needed. We wanted pre and post testing, be able to access data, download data, and analyze data, and so forth, and wanted it to be linked to a payment system ultimately, because we figured we'd need to do some fee-based programming down the line. And so we looked for systems, just couldn't find one, so we decided that we would develop our own. And so we got together a group of content people as well as tech experts and decided to just start developing our own system, because it would be a little more cost effective and we'd have greater control over what features we would have attached to the system. And so in 2005, we launched the system, Extension Online, with a small number of courses, and they were geared towards child care professionals. And I wouldn't say we were highly successful those first couple of years, but the system did take off, and it grew dramatically after that. And so what we've tried to do with our online platform, which offers 1 to 2 hour short courses, and we can do more, but what we did is we tried to revise the system as newer technologies came about. Of course, in the early 2000s, a lot of people are still on dial-up, and so most of our courses were text graphics. Then we graduated up to other forms of technology, PowerPoint, and then video-based type courses as well. But now we currently offer over 170 courses in English and Spanish and Vietnamese. We have approximately almost 200,000 registered users within our system, and I would say the bulk of those, probably about 60% are coming from Texas and about 40% are coming from outside the state. So once you launch a system online, it's available, as you know, to not only those in your state, but those anywhere where you have an internet connection. But our courses, they're designed for child care providers, for parents, for teachers, for state agency employees, and also the general public. And you can see the subject matter areas in which we focus. Our unit is very broad, but we have courses for child care providers, we have courses on health-related issues, nutrition, even home-based business. So we have a variety of content experts who develop courses and host them on our system. This chart basically just shows the growth of Extension Online. As I said, this is over a 7-year period. And as I said, we started conceptualizing this program in the early 2000s, but you can see, I won't tell you how many courses we had in 2005. It was kind of embarrassing, but these are course completions. And what that means is an individual registered for a course, took a pre-test, completed all the content, and then completed a post-test. So we don't count just enrollees. These are course completions, someone who's actually gone through one of our courses. And you can see in 2007, we had roughly 600 completions. And then in 2013, over 188,000 course completions. That amounts to a little over 300,000 contact hours. So you can see, I thought it would eventually, this system would just plateau out, but it's just kept growing and growing and growing. And I think that is just a testament to how people want information and the accessibility of high-speed internet and so forth. I'll talk a little bit more about outcomes in just a minute. But some of the features of our system, we have free user accounts, like a lot of platforms, but we make sure that our courses, being an extension, they need to be research-based. They need to be based on best practices, current practices. They are self-paced, and as I said, that was one of our goals from the very beginning, was to make sure that an individual, any person, could access the courses anytime, day or night, and they wouldn't need an instructor there to help them register or to answer questions. We are available to answer questions. They can email us and so forth. But you can see the volume that we have going through. We have there's over 12,000 courses completed a month. So with our limited faculty, there's simply no way you could have a very hands-on approach with that type of volume. So we wanted to be self-paced, very self-contained. As I said, we do have a variety of course formats. We do have some text graphics courses, PowerPoint voice narrated courses. We received a $1.6 million grant from the Texas Department of State, our Family and Protective Services, the Child Care Licensing Division. And with that type of funding, we were able to add some more bells and whistles and so forth to the system and do a lot of video demonstrations and integrate those into the courses as well. So we have a variety of different formats. We do have downloadable course handouts, pre and post testing. Every one of our courses has a pre-test and has a post-test, so we can analyze knowledge gained, if there is any, associated with each course. One of the things that we've also done is every course, everyone who completes a course gets a verifiable certificate of completion. And we do that, it generates a unique ID code with each certificate, because unfortunately people try to game the system, and so they will try to duplicate certificates. But so ours it generates a unique code with each certificate that can be verified by, for example, a child care state licensing entity. If they go in and do an audit, they can look at the user's transcripts. We do have users' transcripts associated with each account. So when anyone creates a user account, they have a transcript along with their user account. We do have it linked to a payment system out of Texas A&M University, so that enables us to collect fees. We do a combination of fee-based programs. Some of our courses are free. Some of the content is free, and then if they need a certain certification or certificate, they can pay for that after. And we did that because some groups just simply want the information, so we offer that information for free. Some need a specific certification, and that's where we collect our fees. We do have a course authoring site, and that enables us to enter courses, to collect data, to analyze data, and so forth, to track users. But these next several slides, they are just screen captures, just to give you an idea of how our system is set up. This is our basic extensiononline.tamu.edu. So that'll be our home page. But then what we do is we have it broken down into course categories. So these are all the different areas in which we have courses. As I told you, I work in the area of child development, so I spend most of my time on the child care courses. And what we've done is no one really goes to extensiononline.tamu.edu. The way we've done it in terms of like search engine optimization is they will go directly to this site. So if you're a child care provider and you want courses on infant toddler care or health and safety related to the care of children, they do a Google search, they're going to land right on this site. So it takes away the complexity of having to drill down in 5 clicks in order to get to the site. So they will land directly on our, basically our course catalog, our course category site. So they would then peruse the different titles that we offer through our course catalog, create a free user account if they saw a course that they were interested in. They do have a My Account page, as I mentioned, that's associated with every course they take will be in there. If they fail it, if they pass it, that will be in there for them to look at. So they can enter the system, exit the system as they choose. They can start a course and then come back later and complete the course. This is just an example of maybe a welcome page for one of our courses. We usually have a text page at the beginning that explains the system, that they do need a high-speed internet connection. We divide all of our content into smaller sections, and that has helped us in terms of when you're streaming video or have larger videos within a particular course. When we break it up into sections, that helps in terms of speed up the system. As I said, this is just an example of a pre and post test. So everyone, they take the pre-test before they even get to the content. That way we don't bias those pre-test scores. This would be, for example, the introduction to the course. We have learning objectives that are associated with each course, no matter what the content is. We do have some courses have on-screen narration, so we're able to hire basically professional actors or actresses to narrate the courses. And this particular individual is fluent in English and Spanish, and so she was able. We'd go into a studio, record the script in both English and Spanish, and then do some fancy video editing for those courses. We have incorporated a lot of video demonstrations. We go into local child care settings to do video demonstrations of important concepts, and that's true for a lot of our courses. We also have just PowerPoint voice narrated type courses, probably similar to Moodle or other platforms, but just gives us another option to host courses. As I said, each person has when they pass a course, they can choose to just print the certificate or pay for the certificate, or if they just want the content, they can do that later, or they don't have to do it at all. These are just an example of a verifiable certificate. As I said, I'm going to go through these real quick. If you're interested in these slides, I can email them to you. Just talk to me afterwards. We do have a transcript page, as I said, with each account, and that just gives you the history of the courses that you've taken. We do have, as I said, the administrative page that allows us to enter courses, enter content, create courses, and so forth. We link all of our courses are linked to, for example, Google Maps. So we collect a lot of data in terms of where are they coming from. So who are our end users? Are they coming from Texas? Are they coming from outside the state? And so we can really drill down and get some good information about where our users are coming from. We're also very interested in outcomes, and so we look at, of course, our state legislator. They're very interested in how many people are we reaching, and so we can look at statistics both in-state and out-of-state on who's coming to our system, who's enrolling, who's completing, and so forth. This is just an example of our course developer website. What we've done, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in just a minute. I'm running out of time here, but we've created customizable templates. So, for example, this is the Department of Family and Protective Services. We can create templates and host courses for other entities, like organizations, and the courses are ultimately hosted within our system, but it looks like they're going through their system as well, so that's been important to funders. I'm going to skip to some of the outcomes. You've already seen this chart, kind of our growth chart, and how many courses users are completing. This is just an example in the child care arena. If you look at our face-to-face efforts across 254 counties, we reach roughly 3,000 child care providers on an annual basis through our face-to-face efforts. And that's pretty good, But yet, look at the difference between our face-to-face efforts and our online efforts, and how that supplements what our agents do in the face-to-face. It's just, there's a dramatic difference. This is just clock hours or contact hour comparison between face-to-face and online. Once again, a tremendous difference. Our agents last year reached about 20,000 clock hours they offered versus 237,000 online. So there's just simply no comparison in terms of the way that you can reach people. We do a lot of analysis, as I said. Every analysis we've conducted, and I just did one right before I came, with about 21,000 users, we found, I just took our 10 most popular courses and looked at pre- and post-test data, and there were statistically significant knowledge increases on all of those courses. Our courses get rated very highly, and you can see some of the responses there. Most would recommend the courses to others, and I think a lot of that is due to the convenience. They can take these anytime. You can take them in your pajamas at 2 a.m. if you need to fulfill your licensing hours, but that's been important. Just real briefly, some of the strategies that we focused on, and I know there's a lot of different platforms out there, and these apply, what I'm going to talk about applies really to pretty much any platform, but I think this is why we've been pretty successful, is we maintain a simple yet flexible online course system. And I know there's a lot of talk about bells and whistles and having a lot of different features and exciting features based on the latest technology, but in our experiences, you got to be very careful that you don't get too complex or include too many bells and whistles so that you lose your end user. So we've kept our system behind the scenes is very complex, but to the end user, it's very simple to navigate. We do adapt with new technology. We offer content that's based on quality, based on the latest research, but it's also affordable. Our courses typically cost about $7 when there is a fee associated with it for a 1-hour course, $14 maybe for a 2-hour course. But then we've always offered a combination of free courses and fee-based courses, so that it brings a lot of users to our site. They can always come and find some type of free content. We try to add new courses regularly based on, of course, the latest research, trends in various fields, emerging issues. And I always tell, no matter what field it is, if it's early childhood education or if it's nutrition or pesticide management or some other ag-related field, is almost all of us who work within extension in a content area, we have some type of expertise, something valuable to offer our target audience. And if we don't, then what are we doing in extension? Why are we investing the effort anyway? But those individuals that we've worked with who are a little reluctant to put stuff online, we try to encourage them, just take your most popular course that you might deliver face-to-face. We'll convert it online, and I can almost guarantee you're going to have a pretty good audience. And so we do that. We try to make our content appealing and try to have a hook there. We utilize a variety of online marketing tools. We do virtually zero face-to-face marketing with our system. And when you look at that growth chart, from about 600 to 188,000, we haven't done hardly any face-to-face marketing. Trey Rice, who's here, he works with me quite a bit in Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. He's done a very good job of getting, when people do Google searches, our site almost always comes up in the top 3, and so that's really driven traffic to our site. We also do blogs and Facebook posts and so forth to drive traffic to our site. But what's happened is, as our numbers have increased and we've done a good job of trying to document outcomes and outputs, what's happened is that's caught the attention of other state agencies and state legislature and the state legislature, and that's led to millions of dollars in funding. And what we've done is we've been able to take that funding, put that back into the system, develop newer features, improve our system. And so it just kind of feeds back on itself. And then through our fee-based courses, what we've done is we just put that money back in. We've been able to hire tech people. We've been able to hire content specialists through the fees that we get from the system. So I know I'm out of time, but that's Extension Online. Be happy to visit with anyone afterwards. And I know we have just a few minutes for questions. Does anybody have a quick question? Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can pretty much. We try to limit where we put. We don't give out phone numbers. And you can see why, but we do provide emails. If they fail a course, they can email us. If they have a specific content question, they can always email us. And so we try to make ourselves available that way. But as the volume increases, and everyone's had cutbacks, and so you're limited in terms of your faculty. But so we try to keep that to a minimum if we can, but we're always available for answering questions. Okay. Yeah, I'll stay up afterward if you have a question. I appreciate you coming to the session.